Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. We're diving into a high-stakes, billion-dollar sports business thriller today. But before we unpack the intense details of this massive explainer, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and comment down below with what you thought. And if you really want to stay on the bleeding edge of football news, support the channel by becoming a channel member. We are looking at a situation that has rapidly, almost violently, evolved from a standard, everyday infrastructure debate into an absolute political war. Just think about it. The crisp autumn winds blowing off Lake Michigan, the historic echoing roar of that legendary crowd, the economic lifeblood of the local Chicago economy, and the century-old legacy of the McCaskey family. All of it, every single piece of that history, is currently hanging by a remarkably thin thread. Because behind closed doors, far away from the cameras and the turf, a ruthless game of political chess is being played. We're talking about top-tier executives, powerful city mayors, and influential state senators locking horns. And the final outcome of this standoff, it is going to fundamentally alter the landscape of the entire league for generations. Where will the Bears play? Now, for decades, even asking that question out loud was completely, totally unthinkable. I mean, it sounded absurd. We are watching in real time as a legendary franchise, an absolute founding pillar from the days of George Halas, actively orchestrates the potential abandonment of its historic home. The Chicago Bears are deeply, inextricably intertwined with the very identity of the city itself. Their headquarters at Halas Hall, their legendary deep dish tailgates, the entire Monsters of the Midway persona, it is all woven directly into the fabric of Illinois. But today it is without a doubt the most volatile and urgent question in the NFL. And listen, this isn't just a story about football. It's not just a story about modern architecture and shiny new stadiums. It is a cinematic standoff. It's about ultimate leverage, alleged political betrayal, and a rapidly ticking clock that threatens to permanently uproot an entire, deeply loyal fan base. The sheer urgency of this situation literally cannot be overstated. So, how did we get here?
Chapter 1. End of an Era. The Constraints of Soldier Field. 1924. That is the exact year Soldier Field officially opened its massive neoclassical doors. I want you to really think about the gravity of that for a second. 1924. We are talking about the era of the Roaring '20s. This was long before the modern NFL even took shape. This was a time when stadiums were essentially just built with poured concrete and simple wooden bleachers. It's like a museum piece. And while other rival franchises are currently breaking ground on multi-billion-dollar palatial estates, I mean, just think of the climate-controlled oasis of Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, or the sprawling, technologically integrated mega-screen marvel that is SoFi Stadium out in Los Angeles. The Bears are operating inside the absolute oldest stadium in the entire National Football League. It is quite literally a monument of a bygone era. Now, they have played their home games there since 1971. And while those iconic columns hold decades upon decades of history, let's be totally honest here. 55 years later, the historic nostalgia has entirely worn off. It has been totally replaced by the suffocating reality of an outdated infrastructure. The narrow concourses that literally trap thousands of fans during halftime, the crumbling concrete, the exposed seating that offers absolutely no protection from the brutal, freezing Lake Michigan winters. All of it represents a severe operational liability in today's modern sports ecosystem. It's just not working anymore. And here is the kicker. Just over 61,000 spectators. That is the absolute smallest seating capacity in the entire National Football League. Let that sink in. The smallest. In an era where the Shield prints money through massive ticket sales, ultra-premium luxury suites, and hosting massive global mega events, the Chicago Bears are completely, fundamentally bottlenecked. Because they don't own a modern high-capacity venue, they are missing out on the absolute gold mines of the modern sports business. It's staggering when you look at the numbers. They cannot secure lucrative corporate naming rights for the building. They cannot construct year-round entertainment districts that generate massive revenue 365 days a year. They cannot host those massive Taylor Swift mega concerts in the dead of winter, and they are completely locked out of bidding for the Super Bowl or the NCAA Final Four. Every single Sunday they play at home, they are leaving millions upon millions of dollars sitting right there on the table. Why? Simply because there are no more seats to sell and no high-end amenities to offer the corporate sponsors. This creates an absolutely desperate, uncompromising need for a massive, state-of-the-art modern mega project. They literally cannot survive the next 50 years without one.
Chapter 2. The Harsh Reality. The Bombshell Statement. Which brings us to the ultimate turning point in this whole saga. The bombshell statement that completely upended Chicago politics and sent absolute shockwaves through the sports world just this past Thursday. Listen closely to the exact phrasing of this official team statement. The Chicago Bears have exhausted every opportunity to stay in Chicago, which was our initial goal. There is not a viable site in the city. Let that harsh, uncompromising finality sink in for a moment. Just process those words. Not a viable site. This wasn't some leaked rumor from an anonymous insider on Twitter. This wasn't a whispered, backdoor negotiation tactic designed to just apply a little pressure to the local politicians. No, this was an official, public, on-the-record declaration from the front office of the franchise. The city of Chicago, the literal namesake of the team for over a century, has been completely and totally written off. The door hasn't just been closed, it has been slammed shut, dead-bolted, and locked by the team's brass. They are done with the city limits.
And the immediate chaotic impact of that statement, it changes absolutely everything moving forward. The search has aggressively and ruthlessly narrowed down. The massive, sprawling metropolis of Chicago is effectively out of the running forever, leaving only two highly contrasting external contenders left on the table. Just two. Arlington Heights, Illinois, and Hammond, Indiana. Two distinct suburbs, two entirely different states. One colossal, multi-billion-dollar decision that will unequivocally shape the franchise for the next 100 years. It all comes down to this.
Chapter 3, The Final Two, Illinois versus Indiana.
So let's break down the incredibly specific details of this face-off, because the scale here is absolutely massive, and this is no longer just some localized municipal zoning dispute. It is a full-blown interstate war for an NFL giant. Okay, first up, we have Arlington Heights, Illinois. It's a northwestern suburb, exactly 25 miles from downtown Chicago. Here, the Bears are looking at a sprawling 326-acre blank canvas. 326 acres. That is an insane amount of land. That's enough land to build not just a brand new state-of-the-art indoor venue, but an entire self-sustaining city around it. We're talking a massive footprint entirely surrounded by lucrative commercial real estate, luxury hotels, high-end restaurants, and retail spaces that the franchise would entirely own and operate. It's a gold rush. Versus Hammond, Indiana. Now, Hammond is a 35-minute drive, exactly 29.3 miles away from downtown Chicago. The proposal on the table here is a brand new, taxpayer-supported domed stadium. And make absolutely no mistake about this. This isn't some fringe pipe dream idea. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has publicly stepped in to officially call both of these highly viable options. But here's the smallest, most vital insider detail that changes the entire complexity of this standoff. You might be wondering, wait, wouldn't moving to Indiana infringe on the Indianapolis Colts territory? No, it wouldn't, because Hammond is situated precisely within 75 miles of downtown Chicago. And under very specific NFL bylaws, the Bears, not the Indiana-based Colts, already fully own the lucrative marketing and broadcasting rights in that exact territory. The legal, structural, and financial groundwork for an Indiana move is already quietly in place. It's a brilliant, terrifying loophole.
And if you thought moving to Indiana was just an empty threat, just a hollow bargaining chip used to scare Illinois politicians into opening their wallets, well, look at this staggering quote. Bears chairman George McCaskey bluntly stated that fans would get used to Indiana. That is an incredible level of confidence, and frankly, it is a direct, almost shocking challenge to the loyal fan base's geography. They would get used to it. To prove exactly how serious they are about this specific threat, McCaskey and team president and CEO Kevin Warren actually orchestrated a mid-April executive visit to meet face-to-face with Hammond's mayor, Thomas McDermott Jr. This wasn't a secret phone call, this wasn't an email, this was an in-person, fully documented summit. Moving across state lines is not just a theoretical possibility anymore, guys. It is an active, aggressive, fully fleshed-out contingency plan. They are packing the parachutes as we speak.
Chapter 4, Political Chess Match, Deals Behind Closed Doors.
Now, let's walk through the timeline of how this trust entirely broke down, because it is wild. Mid-April, Bears executives are out there shaking hands in Hammond, Indiana, perfectly projecting the image of a team ready to pack up and leave the state entirely. But simultaneously, behind the scenes, throughout the months of April and May, the Bears are holding highly confidential, unpublicized meetings with top attorneys for the city of Chicago and Mayor Brandon Johnson. They are reportedly sitting at the table, discussing staying at the lakefront and altering their Soldier Field lease. Now, here is the unbelievable part. While doing this, while talking to Chicago, they were actively urging the Illinois state legislature to pass a massive bill funding their Arlington Heights project. The politicians down in Springfield had absolutely no idea the Bears were secretly double-dealing with the city of Chicago. It wasn't until Mayor Johnson visited Springfield just 2 weeks ago that these secret talks were accidentally exposed to the public. State Senator Bill Cunningham felt entirely, totally betrayed. He explicitly noted that this level of sheer deception severely eroded the progress the team had made in securing state funding. The trust was completely broken. The lawmakers were absolutely furious. So, backed into a corner of their own making, what do the Bears do? This past Thursday, they abruptly flip-flop again, entirely shutting down the city and declaring Chicago not viable. It is an absolute masterclass in chaotic, high-stakes leverage, and it has alienated almost everyone involved. And the crucial point underlying all of this dissection, the real reason they're playing this dangerous game, is the money. Massive, state-funded leverage. We are talking about the Illinois Megaprojects Bill. Listen, this isn't just some minor municipal grant to pave a sidewalk. This legislation includes over $100 million in critical tax breaks hanging directly in the balance. $100 million. The Illinois House had already approved a proposal to give these massive, sweeping tax breaks for qualifying megaprojects. It was a bill explicitly and strategically designed to keep the Bears in the state of Illinois. This $100 million is meant to offset the astronomical costs of developing that 326-acre site in Arlington Heights. You've got to build infrastructure, lay down new roads, run massive utilities. But because of the eroded trust and the newly exposed secret meetings with the city, that money is now completely frozen. The Illinois Senate currently holds the ultimate keys to the Arlington Heights megaproject. And here's the brutal truth. Without this $100 million tax break, the financial math simply does not work for the franchise. The Arlington Heights dream is practically dead in the water without that specific injection of state leverage.
Chapter 5. The Ticking Clock. The Looming Deadline. May 31st. Mark that date in your minds. I really need you to feel the absolute gravity of that specific day on the calendar. May 31st. Because if the clock strikes midnight on May 31st, everything changes forever. This isn't a soft suggestion from the league office. This isn't a flexible target date. This is a hard, uncompromising legislative deadline. The Illinois Senate officially adjourns for the session on May 31st. If they do not approve the megaprojects tax breaks by that exact, specific date, the session ends. The lawmakers pack up and go home. The $100 million vanishes into thin air. The leverage entirely evaporates. It is do or die for the state of Illinois, and the clock is screaming. This entire megaproject is an intensely fragile house of cards, and a stiff breeze is blowing. The May 31st legislative deadline is breathing down the necks of every single politician involved, but it actually gets even more complicated than that. Simultaneously, the vital, highly complex traffic studies required for the Arlington Heights project, they aren't even finished yet. We are talking about fundamentally rerouting massive interstate highways, figuring out how to manage the flow of 80,000 hyped-up people entering and exiting a massive suburban footprint on a Sunday afternoon. And because those specific traffic studies are still pending, lawmakers are effectively being asked to vote completely blind on a massive $100 million infrastructure package. If those traffic flows fail, the entire surrounding community is permanently gridlocked. Adding gasoline to this blazing fire, Bears CEO Kevin Warren has emphatically and publicly demanded a final site decision by late spring or early summer. He is flat out refusing to wait around. Every single NFL insider reading the tea leaves right now, including ESPN's Adam Schefter, points to one terrifying reality for the Illinois faithful. If that Senate vote fails to pass the $100 million package by May 31st, the Chicago Bears are highly likely to pack their bags, cross the border, and permanently bolt for Indiana. The dominoes have to fall absolutely perfectly right here, right now, or an entire century of iconic Illinois sports history will be erased in the blink of an eye.
The clock is ticking down to the final seconds. The political trust is severely, maybe permanently, broken. The multi-million-dollar funds are entirely frozen in the Senate. Will the Bears abandon Illinois forever? It is a monumental, franchise-altering decision that will echo through the halls of NFL history for decades to come. Thank you so much for diving deep into this intense explainer with us here on NFL Nexus. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button on this explainer, and comment below right now. Seriously, let us know, do you think the Bears are just bluffing to get their massive tax break, or is an Indiana-domed stadium truly their new home? And remember, if you want to help us keep bringing you these deep dive cinematic breakdowns, support the channel by becoming a channel member today. Until next time, keep your eyes on the clock because the countdown has officially begun.